would teach us Hebrew and she would teach us Tanakh. And one of the things I learned from her is she was like very attached to the text in a very personal way. She was also a psychologist by profession. She was a professor of psychology, and so it was all very personal for her. And I remember her being, for example, like very angry with God on behalf of Moshe for not letting him into the land, and like everything was like, yeah, was within her, and when she was in relationship with the text and with the people.
This Reish Ayin Vav, and I sent you the base Yosef. I'm doing the first half of Shir. I want to make sure I don't get bogged down like I ended up doing last week. Apologize for that. But if you looked at the Torah at all, I hope you looked at the Torah. If you looked at any of the Beis Yosef, my question is, what's the rub? There's like a big rub going on, difficulty.
Sorry, Yoni, I think we're getting a lot of interference from your microphone. If you could mute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, whoever needs to, good. So the sign is up. So let me repeat, what's the rub that's really being dealt with in Reish Ayin Vav? Anybody want to attempt a response, please do so.
Oh, go ahead.
Who's there?
Go.
No.
Okay.
I'll get it wrong, and then you can get it right. You can get the right answer. So it's no. I think it's a tension between who the work is done for. It's a question of, is it for the Jew or is it not, and trying to figure out,
Okay, who has, what would be a halachic term, please? Or actually the term's used here.
Bishvil, like.
Yeah, bishvilo. Okay, so that's one. Isaac, when you want to respond?
I think there's also who's the work being done for. Maybe there's also a sense of how much does the Jew's presence influence the amount of work that might be done already, or that is being done kind of anyways. How much does the Jew's presence influence?
So actually, a Jew guy, a Yid guy interaction, as it were. That's actually a halachic dealing. Does he end up? What's the halachic term there? Often, that's used.
Shema Yarbe Bishvilo.
The Shema Yarbe, right? Even if he's doing it for himself, which is obviously he's solely doing it for a Jew, it's a problem. But Shema Yarbe. Okay. Two good answers. Neither of the answers is what I wanted. I want to know No, you're both right. Structure. Well, what I'm really looking is everything that the Beis Yosef brings down. There seems to be like a kind of bigger issue. If you review these halachos that you have learned so far in the past weeks with someone who's not a posek, etc., but is knowledgeable about religious Jewish life, what might they respond to you? Because we've been doing this for a couple of weeks now.
What about a Shabbos goy?
Yeah, not even, and make that question even stronger. Are you crazy? Get yourself a Shabbos. You just eliminated Shabbos goy. The whole thing. I mean, I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with all three of you. There's a question that's going on halachic principles. And why halachic principles? Because we have those cases from the Mishnayot that we saw that the Gemara comments on. And as I heard in a different shir this week, the Mishnah does not give klalim. The Mishnah gives instances, and I think that's basically true. The Gemara tries to expand into certain klalim. The response of Joel and Isaac were basically, well, what are the halachic rub klalim? How do we kind of like get those down? But then the other part is this halacha doesn't seem to actually work. I mean, we seem to work a different life in terms of how this works out. And then what you really see in the Beis Yosef is a quoting of circumstances, or I should say more than that, a quoting of Piskei Halacha. But what kind of Piskei Halacha he seems to be quoting, or there's a lot of there, is, well, first of all, it's all early stuff. It's all mostly, not all of it, but a lot of it pre-tour, but even post-tour, certainly pre-Shulchan Aruch, that's being quoted by Beis Yosef, who later on wrote the Shulchan Aruch. It's a lot of individual maisim. This father, this grandfather, and even when a certain Rav Paskins, when he's quoting from the Sefer, the Svarim that he's quoting from, which are mostly pre-tour Svarim, are the Svarim that they had out that kind of like tells you how to live in a much less systematic way than the Torah and the Shulchan Aruch. I mean, the Shulchan Aruch finally nailed it, but even more, much more than the Torah. So, like, how's this working? Or as Yavne just says, where did the Shabbos Goy go? So I want to take you through just some pieces. I like to read every piece of the Beis Yosef, but I want to take you just through some pieces. Rav Nachum told me not to do much from the beginning. Is that correct, Rav Nachum? But
well, I said that the second half of the first one, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm still going to quote something from the first half. What I sent out to you, I have the same page as you, in the sense of I have a little different edition, but the same pagination works out the same. I'm not sure what you're looking at, but in Reish Ayin Vav on Aleph of Kuf Nun Chet is the page as it's related to. At the beginning, it quotes Tosfos, the Rosh, and the Ran, and in the third, fourth line, Shaloka Divrei Amorim. Oh, I'm sorry, he quotes the Torah. Asur l'chol afilu misha lo hudlak bishvilo. In which case, it's even, this, you did it for a Jew, he did it for a Jew, the non-Jew did it for a Jew, but therefore even another Jew can't make use of it. And this goes, Shaloka Divrei Omrim, the Dafkal Yisrael she'oseh bishvilo. Aval mi shelo na'aseh bishvilo shari. Now this kind of drops out later on, I think, in halacha in general. It kind of drops out, but the Beis Yosef brings it back to remind us there could have been this other alternative that could be okay when a non-Jew does it for a specific Jew, that specific Jew cannot. But another Jew, why should there be a problem? And they bring a proof of this from why it should be usher. From the case of a person comes abba mechutz l'tachum, the non-Jew comes from chutz l'tachum, outside of tachum, the isur of using tachum. So it's in the sense it's a very light isur that the non-Jew is helping you out by coming from chutz l'tachum, from outside tachum. And for the Amurim, for those who say that it's only for the specific Jew that is usher, and they in this case seems to favor all Jews, the dafka be isur techumim derabanan hatiru. But maybe that's only because for techumim, oh no, in that case they're matter. Excuse me, the reverse. They're matter other people. Why they matter other people? To the other Jews, matter other because it's a derabanan. Well, that's also another thing, which in a sense the Jeraisa possibility seems to be falling out as well. Remember we talked about at length whether it's Jeraisa or Draban. Jeraisa possibility seems to be falling out. Below the Isur Torah. And Isur Torah, okay, would be no good. The Haran Kotav, that feel be Isurei Drabanan Efshar Delo Makilin Bahachi. Maybe even Drabanans we say should go for everybody. But the thing with Techumin is Sheino Shabbat L'chol. Because in Techum, your Techum Shabbat may be different than somebody else's Techum Shabbat. So maybe you can have a kula there in terms of Techum Shabbat. Wherever you're living is going to be different than somebody else. So maybe the non-Jew can be matron. So what can make a mutter? It's Drabanan. And also it's not necessarily the same people. So now let me just ask a question. What is the argument to say that if it's usher for a specific Jew, I'm now taken by the idea, should be usher only for that specific Jew? Why Dafka, you have all the others posketing that's actually usher for all Jews?
Because of the pasuk from the Torah, Lo ye'aseh malacha. So
Okay.
the Isur is on the work itself.
Easter's on the
When it says Lo ye'aseh malacha, it's the focus is on the malacha,
But-
not on who it's
okay,
for.
so I can't go into all my arguments with you on this because it is a pasuk that you know, so thank God for that. But still, I would just say we don't stop the. So you say so you'd have to add, and therefore, since it benefits some Jew, that's the graduated. That's how it graduates.
That's why I'm saying that's why
how
the
it
Isur on all
graduates
Jews.
to all Jews. Okay, well,
Right, because it's about the work
well
itself.
said. Now, anybody want to agree or disagree on this? Joel?
I get the impression it's more about what the Gezerah is about in the first place, which is we're trying to prevent people from taking advantage of non-Jews doing work on Shabbat. And so if it's only asur to the person who is done for it, that's like a great harama for people of like, oh, we'll get Joel to go ask the non-Jew, and then everybody else will go use the light, kind of thing. And so the only way to really kind of stop using non-Jews as a Shabbos goy, which seems to be the inclination here, is to say that no Jew can make use of it. Otherwise, the Gezerah has no teeth.
Say the last one. I'm sorry.
Otherwise, the Gezerah has no teeth unless you actually ban all Jews from getting hana from what
Don't
this.
worry. So that and okay. So you guys came together. Any discordant voice?
I actually want to ask Joel a question on what he just said.
No. Don't take
No,
it further.
I can't. No.
No, you can't. On your own time. Now, what do you have, Josh?
Just there's a confusion of where this is coming from and if it's a gzera or a verse. And I think that confusion is reflected here. So we've had the Isur is daber davar, and it's all about speaking. And we've had that yaseh, it's about things being done passively. We've had that the gzera, Shema, you keep doing it every week. And we've had Rambam has, if you start asking a non-Jew to do it, then you'll start doing it. And all that confusion of where this is coming from reflects itself in contradictory halachot.
Okay, all right. This allows us to start doing, how can I say, fine tuning it, whether it's Deraita or Drabonon. That's helpful. That's helpful. Okay. What we're doing right now, to be reflective, what we're doing right now is try to come up with the column, whether it's a cloud that's from Deraita source, whether it's a cloud that comes from a Drabonon source. And what I've heard here is, yes, even though there are others who say it's only on the specific Jew, it would only be on the specific Jew, a specific occasion, for example, Tchum Shabbat, in which other Jews have different definitions of Tchum Shabbat. But in general, it is either a Deraita, which is absolute in its scope, or it's a Drabonon, in which we're trying to have a result which would not allow for wrongful speaking. And now speech has been expanded to mean not just speech, but it's been expanded to mean the result of implied speech. Everyone has hana, and therefore that's how that works in Deraita Drabonon. Although I still seem to be thinking that the halacha is moving towards Rabbanon and not towards Deraita. Now go to the second paragraph in the Beit Yosef, and he brings the case of how about we have the case of sending letters. And the goy, and we've had these Gemaras. So look inside, you can see it. The goy can even send the letter, can even deliver the letter on Shabbat. And what's the basic reason why that's mutter to do that? because it was katsatz lo sechar, because they had determined a amount of money. I'm sorry.
That's the
We
goofy.
have the halacha of katsatz lo sechar. So we'll start with that. In case of katsatz lo sechar, why is the goy's activity mutter on Shabbos in general? If you did a specific schar for the goy,
because he's doing a data de nafshe,
which means what?
like for his own benefit, because he himself wants to. He wants to make the money, so he does it for himself. He's not doing it for you. He's doing it for the $20.
Okay, fine. And there's one little piece missing there. Seemingly, he also does it on his own time.
Right.
He determines how it may be that he does it on Shabbos, but he didn't have to do it on Shabbos. So just as it's a date de nafshe, the dot of the Jew has now been weakened, and their connection has been weakened. But there's a question and answer here, but there's a line here that becomes very important. The question is whether the Guf Yisrael is Nehana specifically from Achil Shabbos. And that becomes, what it says here, where there's a Le'el, the Shari B'Katzas, the Hasam Ein Guf Yisrael Nehana Me Guf HaShlichut. Avahacha Guf HaYisrael Nehana Me Malacha Shabbos and Aseh Bishvilo. So you send your pants to be, you send the pants to an Italian non-Jewish tailor, you don't really have any hana, but if direct hana at that moment, but if the non-Jew turns on a light for you, etc., then you have, or does a fire for you, then you have direct hana. So that becomes one of the other klolim that becomes this. Is there hana? Joe, you had said, who has hana? What we're talking about here is when the Jew has hana. Okay, then we come to the third paragraph. The Rabbeinu, the Torah says that you can use it. You can use it. Let's say, I'll quote from the Torah up above. Imasa esh l'tzarcho, o l'tzarcho she'ein bo sakana, also l'chamein kenegdo. Shema Yarba, and we had talked about Shema Yarba. Yeah?
No, Bishvilo is also important there.
Right. So say why it's important.
Because it's not just Shema Yarbeh, it's that we're afraid he's going to do it for himself. That's one of the points that we were talking about at the beginning. This Bishvilo.
Shema Yarbeh, that he will do it. Who's the himself there?
The third person possessive pronoun is the key here. That's the one that denotes that it's for the Jew's benefit, that for the Jew who is not sick.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anybody want to respond to that? Agreement on that? We're still doing klolim here. Now turn that into a klal as opposed to a note. What you said. You.
If it's if something is being done for the necessity of one person, you are prohibited not only from getting direct benefit for it, or you're prohibited from in any way altering it in order to increase for your own benefit.
Okay. I think that works. I'm hearing it works. Anybody disagree? Okay. So let's do the second part, what I was wanted to emphasize. L'tzora chola she'ein bo sakana. Lights a fire for sakana, for a chola who's not in danger. If the chola was in danger, who would light the fire?
Jew.
Most
Jews.
important Jew.
The Gedolim. Hainu Omar, if all things are equal. Hainu Omar, dafel pi she'ein bo sakana. Dafel pi she'ein bo sakana. Hudlak beheter. Who? Can I read in South Pair? The tzorche chola she'ein bo sakana nasim al yedei goy. Why is it mutter, as it were, for that chola she'ein bo sakana to have the benefit from the goy lighting a fire for him? Ein bo sakana means he's not going to die.
It has to. I mean, the general principle is that if you can do
Who's
it.
speaking? Joe,
This
speaking, yeah.
is Joel. Sorry, you can violate a derabanan, or not violate. A derabanan is pushed aside for cholesh ein bo sakana, right?
You're almost right.
And so
Evidently,
maybe-
how they understand it is, some more important, there is no gezerah for a chola
Yeah.
she'ein bo sakana. It's much more important. And by the way, why didn't they make a gezerah for a chola she'ein bo sakana?
There's no danger of it spreading to other cases of people doing it, or less danger.
Less danger of
contained.
learning wrong things, or is that the point?
Yeah, that it's limited to the chole, and so it's a unusual, if not life threatening, it's an unusual circumstance.
It's maybe, but I think there's something underneath it that's stronger that leads to what you would say. It's like, and then now I'm entering into the case. Then who in the hell is going to? If you had the gezerah, you have to wait till it's pushed aside or think about that. Who in the hell is going to take care of the chola? Oh, he's not going to die. Doctor comes out. Well, he's not going to die. Or rabbi sees a suffering person, you as all of you, and someone says, "So, Rabbi, what are we going to do? Person suffering." Okay, so we have
You're saying it's like it's a catch-22. You're saying it's
but it has to be done. It has to be done. What I'm trying to say is that's why there's no gezerah. It's like a fancy thing. The fancy thing I said is there is no gezerah. That sounded like a chap, right? That sounded like, instead of saying the gezerah is pushed aside, I said there is no gezerah. But I'm saying there is no gezerah because there only goes around things that make sense to be goes around, and not goes around things. Someone has to take it. And by the way, okay? So, all you people know about Jews and so if the goy can't do it, it's usher for the goy to do it, then who would end up doing it?
Jew.
Right? I expected that you would say nobody, but of course not. Somebody will do it. So it'll be the mother, it'll be the sister, it'll be the brother, it'll be the father, it'll be that. So therefore, there is no gezerah then. So therefore, there's a system going. Well, they're trying to create a system, at least there's an ecology there, at least. The chola has to be taken care of. It's chola she'ein bo. Now, the next part becomes lumdus. The kaven to the heter hudlak, right? What was the heter hudlak? Since since evidently you can have this amira la'akum for a chola, I'm going that far, for a chola she'ein bo sakana, or he does it on his own, the goy, for the purpose of taking care. It's a trusted friend. It's a trusted retainer in the house. It's someone who's close. If it came into heter hudlak, mutar lishtamish la'ora. Here's for the ora or the chamimut. It doesn't matter. It was totally. Which, by the way, if you said, careful, if you said that it was the gezerah, if you said like the original suggestion, that it was a gezerah that was pushed aside for the chola, And therefore the non-Jew can light the fire, light the candle for the chala shebo sakana. He's not going to die, but he's nonetheless, he or she is nonetheless a chala. You might think, what do you might think about the situation of the Jew who's in the room? You might have to leave the room because the gezerah was pushed aside for the cholas. That's what just for the cholas point, for the purpose. But if you say there's no gezerah, then you end up saying the kaven the beheter hudlak by the non-Jew, mutar lishtamesh la'ora by anybody. Are we okay?
Rav Lentz, I have a question.
Yeah.
Based on one of the things you just said, I've noticed that nowhere does it say here that we've asked the Akum to do this. It's talking about a case where Akum does it.
No, I took it further. Right,
so I'm asking, is there a difference?
The Akum might very well be doing on his own. Akum may very well be doing his own. I took it further by saying you even asked the Akum to do, because I actually don't see the difference. That the Amira should be any problem here. Especially, and it works perfectly here. There is no. It's a full heter that he's modeling. He's modeling this. But you're right. But I'm admitting that it doesn't say it there.
Rav Landis?
Nothing. What do you think? Can I make that jump? You think so? Okay, good. Now let's go further.
Wait,
what we saw in this section here, what we saw in this section is that a chola she'ein bo sakana, and we say there was never a gezerah there. Therefore, it's done the heter. Therefore, we can have an offering, right? But don't get confused by the lumdus. I think that part of the whole analysis came from the fact that you have to have a system in which a chola she'ein bo, that a chola is taken care of. And a chola she'yesh bo sakana is taken care of. The biggest Talmid Chacham, if all things are equal, he should light the fire, or some other Jew. If it's a case of, and if it's a case chola she'ein bo sakana, it's done by the non-Jew. Non-Jew does it on his own, or I think there's a Mira L'Akum is fully fine there. It's the need to have a system that works creates the need for analyzing the situation, and therefore they'll tell you that this is not a situation of whether or not you should do a remisa to the non-Jew to throw the ball over the fence. You know, the kid knocked the ball over the other side, and the ball came. What are you going to? This is talking about people being sick. Okay, what are you going to say, Cheryl?
Someone has a question.
Who?
Yeah,
they go.
I'm just confused by what you just said. That you are. I thought the way I read the tool was that you're explicitly not allowed to enjoy. The non-sick Jew, is not allowed to enjoy the fire made for the sick Jew, even if. And then Beit Yosef explains that even if you made it yourself, because it's a chole like chole b'sakana, then you make the fire. You can make the fire for them, but you can't enjoy it yourself.
Wait, how do you read it? Just so do your reading for us. You have to read it now. Read in
the tool. It says, so for ner, יכול ישראל להשתמש לאורו, ואם בשביל ישראל, wait, where is it? אבל אם עשה אש לצורכו, או לצורך חולה שאין בו סכנה, אסור להתחמם כנגדו, שמא ירבה בשבילו. The distinction being made between the candle and the fire is that the fire, I don't have much experience with these sorts of fires, but the claim is that the non-Jew.
Right. So the ner is considered echad l'mea, right, for the ner. And we're not making the same claim about fire. Exactly. Making the claim about fire is that shema yarbe, because the amount that you need to warm up is going to be demonstrably more. Correct? That's what it is. Yeah.
And then the detail from the Beit Yosef about the Jew making the fire for the sheyesh bo sakana is in the Diborot Chenu, Ma shekatuv Rabbeinu, או לצורך חולה שאין בו סכנה, היינו, לומר, אף על פי שאין בו סכנה הודלק, wait, is this the one?
Yeah, athal p shein bo sa, and athal p should be exaggerated when you say it. Athal p shein bo sakana, comma.
I'm not sure this is the right one. No. No, I'm thinking of something else. Anyway, I can find it, but that question in general is still the question.
You're talking about the difference between fire and candle?
Yeah.
So this is a live question.
Okay.
I'm going to leave it right now. Just leave it as a live question. But I still maintain what it said, I have to go through again, that the situation of having to find a way of doing this creates the need to reevaluate the gezerah, to say gezerah does not apply, and therefore makes the whole situation mutter, and therefore it's not something that was pushed, a gezerah that was pushed aside, and therefore anyone, any Jew can have hana from this candle that was lit, or the fire that was lit. I'm now putting them together for a reason, but even if you say there is a distinction between the two, this is one of the things that they're going to be arguing about. Aval im asa eish letzorcha, right? Okay, the next part of the Beis Yosef. Klomar, b'hidlika ner letzorcha, o letzorach chala shein bo sakana, hu de muter liYisrael yishtamish l'oro. Okay, that's what. Aval im asa eish letzorcha, asor lachmein kinegla. This is what you were looking at. Okay. Fachim Mashra V'Tanya So Perko Kisvei Goy Shemile Mayim LaHashkot Behem Tov Kama Mashke Acharav Yisrael V'Medver Memorim B'She'enu Makiro V'Makiro Aser Gezer Shema Yarbeh B'Shvila. So this becomes very important. These makir, what do we say about the case of makir? Case of makir leads directly to
Shema Yarbeh B'Shvila.
If he's not makir, our assumption is
he won't bother.
He won't bother, as Isaac just said here. He won't bother, and therefore, what impact is? Hey, don't drink. Give me the next step. Therefore, he won't bother, and since he won't bother, how does that impact on the halacha?
It's okay. So because he's
What's
not
okay?
going to. It's okay to have the animal
for the
drink.
Jew to have the hana.
Yeah, because there
Right.
won't be any added work.
No, see what's happening here. The makir has become, but if it's not makir, then it's going. There is a fine tuning taking place right now of the principles. Now, Shema, we asked for sure, but we mean this. Go down 4 lines. The im kain asiyat eish, the shaykh by ribui. Right, now we have eish may be different than fire, what you were talking about. The yesh eish maspeket v'chamein kam v'nei adam. The yesh eina maspeket ela echad ol shnayim. Chaychin et shema yarbeh bishvilo. And therefore eish is more of a problem than the ner. For Rabbeinu, shelo chilei kan bei makiro v'sheinu makiro. He doesn't have that distinction. The makir distinction is not his, of the Torah. And he said, oh yeah, he did make that chiluk, but elsewhere. We don't see that chiluk over here. Now, go to the next section here. Now we're going to be entering something good, better. Rabbeinu Olet Sorachol Shein Bo Sakona. No, I'm going to skip that, even though it's good. On the bottom of the page, V'chein Kotav Igor. Do you have that? Right? Also a collection of halachas. She'Rabbeinu Tam Aser Lehen Not V'Medurash Yirbeh Hagoy. We're afraid of this with Tzorach Yisrael. V'hu Midivrei Shibbolei Haleket. V'gam HaMordechai Kotav Perkama She'esh Osrim. Abel Smag, Truma, Mordechai Perkama. We're now in Kuf Nun Tet. Vagos, Chawugim al Dibre Rabbeinu, Shehem Zal Hetiru, Yisrael, Vachmeim, Kineged Eish, Shasah Goy. Surprise! I have an exclamation mark here I wrote. Surprise! Shasah Goy Wutzarcha was for the Goy's own pleasure. Oh, it's Sorachala. She'ein Wutzarcha She'ein Bo Sakana. Below Chilku Bein Hilik Ner Lasa Eish. Why not? The mashmal who the kashem shebahadlaka the ner lo chayshin shema yarbe mishum the ner echad sagil lemea. One candle is enough for one. Therefore, he did it for himself. 100 people, 100 Jews can't say Tehillim, go over Tanya with it, right? Hachanami the eish mu'etet sagil lahachmeim mea b'nei adam. In other words, they want to collapse this distinction between Ner and Eish. That distinction held at the beginning, held in the Torah, but we see, or at least I see, the Beis Yosef as an advocate to that the same heterim by Ner should apply by Eish. The Im Nashachal Omar, but if you want to say, She'einam mitchamimim kol kach kamo be'eish gedolah. With one watt, with a candle 100, but maybe a big fire does more. A big fire, then that should be also right. Okay. So he says that. I'm sorry. So he says back, I'm keeping that there's exactly the same halacha. Eino meir lahem kol kach b'ner echad k'mo b'asara nerot. Ela kiven the ner echad meir l'kulam tu lo chayshin shemen yarbeh. Shema yarbeh needs breaks on it. Shema yarbeh cannot be a category. So Shema yarbeh now has the expansion. That's the case of Makiro, where the guy knows the Jew. He may do something for the Jew. But Shema Yarbeh does not have the notion of making a distinction between Eish and between Eish and Ner. Once you have the fact that you have some warmth, it's just like the notion of one candle, and we don't go so far to worry that they're going to expand it, except the Heker issue may still be there. The Heker issue is still alive. Mitchamemet lukulam tu lo chayshinan shema yarba. Gets rid of shema yarba in the distinction between Eish and Ner, and we're done with it. We keep shema yarba only in its place of what be makir. But as he points out himself, even the Torah itself doesn't mention makir here, but the Beis Yosef is recreating on the basis of the Torah. And now we take it another step of Shema Yakir. The Data Rokeach. Okay? These are all collections of halachas. Kedat Rabbeinu Shakatav, Ein Liyashev Eitzel Eish. Don't sit next to the fire. Shetikin Agoy, Pen Yavir Eitzim, O Yachteh Begachalim Avor Yisrael. What happens? You sit next to the fire. The guy doesn't know you, but you're a human being, and he'll make the fire a little bit better for you who are sitting by the fire. So the Shema Yakir, not only does the Shema Yakir not go away, the Shema Yakir kind of expands itself in saying is, don't be the cause. And so therefore, as I said earlier, the whole question is, when are you the cause, and when are you not the cause? Look at the Bayit Chodesh, the Yoel Sirks, okay? The Taz's father-in-law, where it says, Shuvra Ichi Shakata Bagos Maimonos Shaha Maharam, that's the Maharam of Rutenberg. Noeg Mishum Chumra Uprishut. He was known as an ascetic, Prishut. And he was known, he would take every chumrah, Shosol Chumra Uprishut, and all halachas. V'asa misgeret l'tanuro. And he used to make a frame for his tanur. So his what? Shelo tachum hashivcha bate hachoref b'Shabbat. So that he would lock it up so the poor shivcha would not be able to warm up the house on Shabbos. The Zichroni, now the Bach is continuing to speak. K'shayiti Eitzel Mori, the Migdal, a couple of great teachers, the Migdal Vashbarak, in the Vashbarak Tower, Shebe'erev Shabbos Asinu Madura Lahachmeim, okay, they made a big Madura, Kenegda B'Laila, Ukishiyashanu, Ashikimat Haita Kala, Bohu Avodim, until it was finished, and we just sat by the fire. Bohu Avodim Asu Gedolah, they added to the fire. V'amru b'feirush she'asu lanu. Here, we're making a fire for you, bigger. So what does the Bach do along with his Rebbe? Right? She'asu lanu l'nachat ruach, so we should feel good. V'yashvu. And the rabbis continue to sit there. And we, I guess the students were with them, or with the guy, with the non-Jews. And we were happy. Me'erev Shabbos, ubo hagoy b'Shabbos b'hosi. You never thought of this. You didn't come up with this in your own mind. You didn't dream about this and say to each one of the snapshots I see.
It's like Ohel. It's like Ohel, where if it's already built, you can build more. It's the same idea.
V'hosif Allah b'shvil Yisrael. Exactly right. We can appreciate to bezeh ein iser ledover hakol the hakol modim. Everyone agrees to this. Now, I don't have time for all this stuff. But I'm going to take you to the very end because I promised to split this problem. So go to Kuf Samach Aleph. No. Go to Kuf Samach Gimel. I'm skipping good stuff. I want you to see how this works. Hey, okay. Kasu Bagos Mordechai Perakama, B'Shem Rabbeinu Simcha. Who was Rabbeinu Simcha? Rashi's son-in-law. He wrote a book, Maser Vitri, which is like the early Rashiist Torah on everything in terms of halacha, right? Al HaMadurot Shashivchot Osot B'Beit Adoneim. And these Madurot, they're making a fire. Shimra Yisrael b'Shatak. If Yisrael saw the fire and he didn't say anything, they're about to make the fire. Adate Avi. That means the Jew is responsible. They're doing it by their dat. Kaven sha'etzim shalom v'chalhani, because it's their wood. It's the Jew's wood. And the Jew benefits. V'chol hani de perikol kisve damrim bishvil goy muter hainu sha'goy osem b'lacha b'shalom aval b'shal Yisrael afel b'beit goy osor. In other words, another way of going into it, another chumrah of doing this, and therefore it's no good. And the Master Rabbeinu simply says you can't do it. It's your stuff. They're doing it for your benefit. It's your stuff. You can't kind of give a kvetch that they really did it on their own. Rabbeinu Yisrael. This is Yisrael Israelin, the Trumat Hadeshin. So let me say Sefer Trumat. The greatest Meshiv of the early Rishonim. Until the Rashba, there was none like him. Rashi's son-in-law, the author of the Maser Vitri, says it's usher. He says it's usher for a good reason. It's your wood. You don't say anything. You haven't yelled at them. You haven't put a frame out there and you scare it. You're letting them do that. It's usher for you. You actually have to leave the house. You actually have to leave the house. You can't be in the place because they're doing it for you. And he now, Yisrael says, Macho ischamen keneged madurat hagoy hanasa bishvil Yisrael. If they make a fire and are doing for Israelite, you know what? Sit there and enjoy the warmth. Ki ra'ah aviv, because he saw his own father, Rabbeinu Meshulam, who was a major posek in the time of the Gaonim. Okay? Rabbeinu Meshulam. Shahayu Perushim, they were ascetic. Shemit Chamim, they would sit by those fires. The Chen Gedolei Olam also did that. The Tama. And so what's the reason? What's the heter? The Goyim are doing it for their benefit. Mishum da kol cholim etzal kor. Because he gets sick when it's cold. And regarding, it's not just he gets sick, didn't say that, but we're already cholim. It's already holy. The core, coldness is a sickness. If you look at the Darchei Moshe bet, you got to see what he says on this. Darchei Moshe Israelis, right? Not a guy that in some of your seminaries are praised for being a makil. I don't think so. Ubesof Kotav, there's something that's left out. V'yei chalki imamit chamamim. Oh, I wish I was with those who are getting warm. Below mina prushim, and not from those ascetics. V'amit chamamim yitangu rov shalom. Gotta be warm on Shabbos. Somebody could accuse me for making this up. Even I would have made this up. Okay, even I would have made this up. Gershon, you got to find if any Sephardim talk this way. You have to find
Not
that.
cold in the Sephardic lands.
That's it.
None of them lived in Poland. You know, it's
So based on this, you're
The
sitting
din in Poland.
you're sitting in shul.
Now, but look, he goes further. I'm going to finish in 5 minutes. Going back upstairs. The im einam cholim ufachot heimit sta'arim. What does that mean? Bamrinan, and we have a halacha, Gemara Kesuvos, gonech, a person who's signed because they have heart problems or they have lung problems, yonek chalav b'Shabbos, and can go up to the goat and it can suckle even though it's a talad of that, it's a parik, it's a talad of that. Why? Because they're sick. Ba'afagav the Mefari Kachar Yadhu will go through Bei Rabbanan. Okay, and it goes on. But basically, you're allowed. It's already Kachar Yad when you're going to do this. Okay, fine. But the whole point is you're allowed to do it. Now, where I want to take you to, there's going to be 3 or 4 more lines. I'll take you to. About Gos Maimon, it says Kotzev Amashe Tiru. And say for Trumul Yisrael a note me'esha sagoy bavur tinok that the goy did for a tinok v'chamamo olatakein lo ma'achal, because the tinok, and a tinok always has a definition that the sakana, right, Josh, right, but it's always a thing. O bishvil chola she'ein bo sakana she'ne'amar bikan. The batechorov shehu chamu bishvil katanim, or bishvil avodim, houses that are warm, that are or are warmed for the avodim lashithot. They're warming themselves. She'enim rotzim le'shei bakor, right? Terrible health they had in those days. Shemutar l'gedolim likanes Jews, likanes le'nos mimenu v'afil lahacham bishvil hagadol. Va'afil leheichem bishvil hagadolim. Hitir Rabbeinu Yom Tov, also a major Rishon. Another son of Rashi. Lomar Lagoy. They liked it when they find proofs from son-in-laws of Rashi. Okay, just can understand, right? Lomar Lagoy lasot b'durabish. Look at this. Hitir Rabbeinu Yom Tov lomar Lagoy lasot madura b'Shabbos. Ki akol cholim eitzel kor. Take that principle seriously. right? It's not the same thing as turn on the light. I know what you can say about electricity, but turn on the light because we want to play ping pong, or turn on the light because we're going to have a group together to have a tish. That's not good. No, of course. There was not pushing it aside. It's not pushing the Amira Akum here, and we'll finish. The Amira goes back to the original Chiddush that I try to say. The Amira La'akum is not a blanket gezerah. It's not a see, this works very well, Drabanan. It's not a blanket gezerah that then has to be pushed aside for very important reasons. But when you have that, when you push aside a gezerah, something usually remains. What they're saying here, and that's the strategy, but it's also what their emunah in this, is that it was never part of the gezerah. We're not gozer to have activities which are cases of choli, not only that it brings the choli, but it's considered cores understand as choli, or even sar, right? Gezerahs are not made for the purpose of sar. And if you look down below, I got one more minute. For Katav Rabbeinu Yerucham, and now he's talking about his Sephardi friends. No, this is the. I'm sorry, this is the Beis Yosef. Ba'osam artzos she'enam karod kolkach, so aser she'enam cholim eitzel ha'esh. By eitzel, the whole din of esh, the whole halach of esh. So I would say it this way. They replicate here, these are Rishonim, and then we get to the latest Rishon, or first Achron, Shulchan Aruch, depends how, Rabbi Yosef Karo, depends how you want to call them. They're replicating here the work of the Amoraim of taking ma'asim, which are halachas in the Mishnah, and also things that they saw. How do you reconcile it, but also construct out of it kolalim? And the kolalim here that are created seem to have the meta 2 points in the meta structure. Our Saba, Satsa, our Zeta, our Bubby were religious people, and we're not Amaratzim. And there must be a principle that they were relying on. And we still keep many of these other principles. We keep the principle, the principle of Hana. Do they provide Hana? How much is the Hana? They keep the new principle of Heker, or that's partially new principle, extended principle of Makir. But underneath it all is, when are they gozer? The rabbis, when were they gozer, when were not gozer? And they weren't gozer to torture Jews. I mean, this situation, they weren't gozer to torture Jews. Okay, I'm done for now. Dachem, I'm sorry, you had a point on this. I can't hear you.
Oh, let's take a break, and I'll come back with the Shulchan Aruch.
Okay, thank you. How many minutes? 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 4 minutes?
4 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Put yourself